if you do all of those things, I think you can be whoever the fuck you want to be in like 18 months.
Hey guys, welcome back to Be the Standard. Today we got a very special guest, a good friend of mine, a mentor, brother, Nick Lavery. He's an active duty Green Beret, a husband, a father. He's also the CEO of The Forge, Precision Components, and Team MCHN, which I'm very proud to be a member of. Welcome, brother.
I love this, bro.
Yeah.
Anytime I get a chance to get some FaceTime with you, man, it's a pleasure.
Yeah.
So I'm fired up, man.
Me too, man. I appreciate it. Always good to see you.
Yeah, man.
A lot of my viewers don't know your story. Obviously, I know it very well. We've become friends now over the last year or so. And so I want to start, like, just early on. Where you from? Obviously, you're from Boston. I mean, you can kind of tell.
You know, if your viewers didn't pick up on that already, it was only a matter of time, right? So, originally from Boston. I bounced around quite a bit in terms of where I lived as a kid. So I was in the city, North Shore, South Shore, kind of moved around a little bit. And post-college was when I decided to join the military. I looked at the military in high school a little bit. Actually, I was considering becoming a Marine.
Oh, is that right?
True story. I went, I cut out of school a little early on like a Wednesday, jumped on the T in downtown Boston, and took it to a recruiter station in downtown Boston, and met with the Marine Corps recruiter. And he's like, well, first off, why are you here right now? It's like 12:30 on a Wednesday. I was like, well, he's like, okay. First off, stop skipping school. Okay, that's phase one. Graduate high school. And then if you still want to be a Marine, come back and we'll check it out. And I think that was really just a product of me looking for a place where I could exist and kind of increase some confidence and some strength. Wasn't so much about patriotism or wanting to serve my country. It was just I had this like void as this young, kind of scared, somewhat immature kid. I thought the military could help me do that. I probably would have gone that route had I not gotten recruited to play football in college. That was really the only thing that brought me to college. And then
where'd you go to high school?
Boston College High School.
Okay.
In Dorchester.
Yep.
Yeah. Went there mostly because of their athletic program. I didn't nearly have the intellect to pursue that educationally or academically, but I was able to get in because of what I could do athletically.
Nice. Did you play other sports too, or just football?
I played a bunch. At least I started earlier in high school. I ran track, I played lacrosse, and I wrestled, and then I played football.
Okay.
So I did all four up until my junior year. And my head football coach in high school was also the athletic director for the school. And he was like, hey, man, I know you dig these other sports, but we need to like start specializing you if you want to play at the next level. So my junior and senior year, it was pretty much all based on football. That was it.
And then you went to Lowell?
Went to UMass Lowell. Yep. Went up there.
Football scholarship?
D2 program. I went on it was technically an athletic grant that I went on. Did that, and then my sophomore year was 9/11. So, I just turned 19, and I watched that happen live, and I really struggled to stay in school. I was going to drop out. I met with my academic advisor, like, the next day or maybe 2 days later, and he was like, hey, man, I get it. And he gave me one of the greatest pieces of advice I've ever got, which is you never want to make a large life decision when you were at an emotional extreme. And one could argue that you don't want to make really any decision when you're at an emotional extreme because we know emotion and logic are antagonistic of each other. So as one goes up, the other one goes down, right? Yeah. According to like neurology, it is essentially impossible to make a highly logical choice when you're at an extremely emotionally driven state. They just don't play well together. So he's like, hey man, I get it. You're clearly angry. Just my ask is you give it a couple days, let things kind of calm down. And if you still want to do this, then we'll get you taken care of, which I thought was a reasonable request.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's everything, right? I can think at times, like, I get a text message, and I'm like, I just really want to respond because I'm annoyed. Yeah. But then it's like, no. Like, because you said logic is not playing a factor into your emotional state at that point. So, yeah, it's not just big decisions like that. It's just the small ones, too, where it's like, you know what? I just need to take a step back, think, and kind of see the bigger picture before you make that response or that decision, right?
So, I mean, it's so true. And I love when I get a chance to introduce the importance of emotional regulation early into any conversation I get to have, or any, keynote I do, or training workshop I get to do, or like whatever I'm doing. When I get to introduce emotional regulation or emotional control early on, like the discussion we're having right now, it's a great kind of segue into a lot of other elements of human performance and goal achievement and all these things, our family lives, our professional lives, leadership. Like that, in my opinion, is like phase 0 of establishing a human into a weapon or into someone of capability, and certainly like a high performer. That may be at the absolute beginning. And one of the hard realities of that is it just takes a long time to begin to like even get close to mastering that skill that is emotional regulation.
That's one of those things, maybe just for myself, but that's one of those things where when I think I have it regulated and just mastered, like I find out that I don't.
Sure.
And, it's one of those things that's a constant just awareness thing for me, is being like, all right, well, where am I emotionally, and how am I thinking, and what's my next move based off of that?
Yeah.
So I would argue that is phase 0 and the foundation of achieving anything.
I mean, a couple of things come to mind. Is one, by definition, according to many, mastery is an indefinite pursuit.
Yeah.
It never stops. I love to reference Miyamoto Musashi in this context, who's considered to be one of the greatest samurai warriors ever, like 16th century, defeated hundreds in one-on-one combat, led his tribe into multiple full-blown engagements. I mean, this dude's an absolute savage, lethal weapon. He was also a deep thinker and a philosopher and a writer. And what he states in many of his works, but the Book of Five Rings is probably his most well-known work. He says, the differentiator between masters and the average is that masters recognize that the pursuit of mastery is indefinite. And just that one recognition that this will go, if I choose this route of greatness, of mastery, choose your term, that means that it's going to go on forever. That one realization is what separates the masters from everybody else. It instantaneously puts you into a category of being an outlier, is knowing that this is going to go on forever. I'm going to feverishly pursue this one thing, knowing that I will never actually get it, yet I'm going to continue to pursue it anyway. To many, that is insanity. Like, that makes no sense.
Yep.
And that's almost his point, is you almost got to be a little like out of your mind to go down this road and be that obsessed with it, to put in that kind of work and effort and discipline and sacrifice and consistency and all these things on a regular basis, knowing that you're never actually going to reach a finish line and be willing to do it anyway.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. So when it comes to emotional control, that is the process. Yeah. It's like the second you think you got it figured out is like the realization is going to likely show up almost at the same time, where now like you've gotten good at it and you've earned it, but there's like a lot more here to continue to figure out.
Yeah. No, and that is just, and if you can even just embrace that on the most basic, simple level, maybe not as in depth as the way you just described it, but if you can just embrace that on just a surface level, you're going to be better off than most people.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Like just that mindset of like, yeah, no, I'm going to go hard at this. I'm going to put everything I have into this. I'm not going to get there, but I'm going to keep fucking going.
Keep going.
Like, and I feel like I do that with just certain things, and I'm like not even really sure what the end goal looks like, but I just keep fucking working towards something.
Yeah.
Right?
That's it.
And it leads me in places that I don't even know.
Right.
And that's why one of the messages I put out there often is just to take action and move. Not necessarily with a plan or with a blueprint, but move in a particular direction and just keep fucking going, because the plan's going to fucking fall through anyways.
Sure.
And you're going to have to pivot.
Yeah. So. I mean, the cliche expression we have is no plan survives first contact.
Correct.
We use that in the military. And for those that are unfamiliar with kind of the context of that, in military operations, contact is a term we use when we are in contact with an adversary. And to use like a basic example is bad guys start shooting at me and I start shooting back. So we are now in contact with an enemy or with an adversary. And so no plan survives first contact. And what's interesting about that, man, is we spent a ton of time on mission planning and MDMP and TST planning or time-sensitive target planning. We have all these different methodologies and frameworks and models we use to go through planning, depending on if we have 6 months prior or if we've got 15 minutes because a TST came down and it's like, yo, target is right there right now. You have to be on target in 20 minutes. Like, so choose your gamut of time to plan, but we take planning very, very seriously.
Right.
You could then pose the question, if you mean to tell me that no matter what you do in your planning, it's going to go out the window the second something bad happens or like adversity shows up or a challenge shows up, which is also why you're there to begin with, is to deal with problems. What's the point of planning? Which is a reasonable kind of rebuttal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would respond to that by saying the plan is to give the team an understanding of where we are and where we're going at a desired end state. Everyone knows that it's not going to work in a linear manner from point A to point B. Not only is something going to go wrong in between, but a whole lot of somethings are going to go wrong in between. So then while we're dealing with all the uncertainty and the challenges that are showing up, and you got a team dynamic where now you have individuals that are solving individual problems, sometimes in rapid succession, that plan gives everybody a known point to return back to, modify as necessary, and then continue on the course.
Yeah, that's probably the best way I've ever heard it described, and I just keep playing over and over in my head. Just being overseas, the same thing. Like, I knew that the imagery that I was looking at, the terrain's not going to look like that. The building that's here is really here. Yeah. And, like, just everything. Nothing was going to go the way we wanted it to when we took contact, whether we didn't take contact. It was just, and I would say that to myself, why am I doing this? Like, why are we doing this? But it's for those reasons.
That's it. It's a known point to return to. And I think it's a great analogy for those that have never been in the military. You know, I got it. That is life, man. Yeah. That's it. You got an idea, you got a concept, you got a vision, a mission, whatever, and you start moving towards it. The world doesn't cooperate. Your adversaries don't cooperate. Yeah. Mother Nature doesn't cooperate. You know, like things are going to throw you off track. And I think that that's a great opportunity to start to, one, give yourself a little bit of grace. Yeah. Right? We all want control, but what we do control is a fraction of what we have zero control over. So things are going to happen. Give yourself a little bit of grace and then deploy some flexibility and adaptability. Yeah. And like that one step, I think, is a bridge too far for many, where they either beat themselves up, they start wallowing, they start having regrets, dwelling on what coulda, woulda, shoulda, these things, and are unwilling to like learn those like hard lessons, apply it, and then get back on track.
And I think most often people foresee those things happening, so they don't even get started on the things that they want. They just sit back and they're like, well, I don't have a plan. I don't know what this looks like. What if I try and I fail and people know about it?
Sure.
What if, what if? And so people don't even get off their ass and start moving. And I think that's the biggest detriment to like why people stay where they're at and they don't necessarily move forward with the things that they necessarily want.
Fear is a powerful driver, man.
Yeah.
Right? You and I talk about this quite often. Fear is a very powerful emotion.
Yep.
And it can stagnate an individual indefinitely with the what if question. And what I love to just kind of separate, it's the same question, but it's coming from two different places. And you can decide on which one you may want to listen to. The what if, in terms of risk and all the bad things that could happen, typically is coming from our brain. It's coming from a place of rational and logic, because our brain wants to ensure our survival more than anything else. So it's all the things that could go wrong. What if? Both physical damage and emotional damage, even social damage. Hey, man, all these things could go wrong if you pursue this, because the brain wants homeostasis. It wants us to stay in this nice, predictable, comfort, repeatable place, because it increases the likelihood of survivability. Yeah. It doesn't increase the likelihood of growth and success and winning and goal achievement. Yeah. We're talking just flat out survival.
Sure.
So survival versus living, like two different things. Same question coming from one place. What if? That same question can, and oftentimes does, if you just choose to listen to it, come from your heart, come from your soul, which is asking, what if you do it? Like, what if you pull it off? What if you pull off this miracle that you nor anyone around you thought was possible? What if then? Same question, coming from two different sources.
Yeah.
Which one do you choose to listen to in the moment?
Exactly. And that's the biggest differentiator of success and, I don't want to say failure, but lack of achievement, if you want to call it that.
It's a big one, man, because, I mean, fear is inevitable.
Sure.
Fear is inevitable.
Sure.
And I think one of the massive misconceptions, certainly from kind of general population towards those of us in the military, is that we're these like fearless creatures.
Yeah.
Which you and I both know is completely and totally inaccurate.
Yeah.
I can understand the thought process. I mean, we literally train to literally and figuratively run towards the sound of gunfire. Like, we train to do things that go against biology and Mother Nature.
Yep.
And we build in those systems and through conditioning to do something that is wildly opposed to what a normal human would do under those circumstances.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. That's our chosen profession. That's what we do. So you could look at it that we're these fearless creatures. Completely inaccurate.
Yeah.
We're human beings.
Yeah.
We experience the exact same things. So one question I like to then flip on an individual that's struggling with fear, which is a lot of humans, is what are you afraid of more, man? What are you afraid of more?
Sure.
Doing the thing and all the potential bad things that could happen by a result of that. Like, you drop the weight, you're embarrassed in front of your wife, she says no, like he says no, you ask for the promotion, you get shot down, like whatever the thing is, what are you more afraid of? The potential bad thing that could happen as a result of the task, or the fear of regret?
Yeah.
If you don't execute and you look back in a week or 6 months or 10 years to this moment right now, going, man, like, what could have happened had I just sent it?
Yeah.
What scares you more?
Yeah.
Choose the thing to be more afraid of.
Right.
It's gonna be scary regardless.
Yeah.
And then make a call.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's it. That's it right there. So you stayed in college. You stayed in college.
I stayed in college. Grinded out the rest of my degree, graduated, and then.
What'd you go to school for?
Oh, that's a good question. Initially, I majored in, I think, business management.
Yeah.
Which after my first day in calculus, which was a requirement for that major, I was like, this ain't happening. Not doing this, which is kind of ironic now that I run a business. But so I went to my advisor and I was like, dude, get me out of calculus. What are my options? And he gave me like, whatever, 5. So I ended up landing on criminal justice, which is what I studied.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, did you want to be a cop? Like, no, I had no interest in anything in law enforcement. I just didn't want to take calculus.
Yeah.
I wanted to play football and be a college student and do the bare minimum academically.
Yep.
That was my glide path.
Dude, that's funny. I went to my freshman year of college. I went as a psychology major. And my first semester, I failed the psych class. I'm like, this probably isn't for me. Yeah, it's probably time for me to switch majors after a semester. But yeah, no, that's funny. So you graduated college and then what? Straight into the military?
There was a little bit of a gap in between. I want to say maybe 6, 8, or 9 months or so. But I started researching different units and ways to get into the military at that point. It was about 2006.
Yeah.
So we're surging in Iraq and in Afghanistan. So initially I had this fear that the global war on terrorism, which wasn't quite named yet back when 9/11 first happened, was going to just be over and done with like that. And I was going to miss my opportunity to serve in combat as a result of 9/11. My only like real military context was really the Gulf War.
Right.
Back in, the early 90s. I was, 8, 9, 10 years old at the time. And that was, from my vantage point, that was over and done with in like a week. I mean, it was like we just steamrolled through Iraq, and it was like, holy shit. So that was kind of my context of how fast military operations or conflicts are over and done with.
And I think everybody kind of had that sense like, no, there's no way we're going to be doing this for 20 years.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know if anyone thought it'd be that long. But come 06 and I graduate, it was still game on across like multiple conflicts. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to get in. And then I started researching the different special operations units. I know I wanted to go into SOCOM or SOF kind of right away. I met with the Navy, I met with the Marine Corps, and then eventually I met with the Army and decided to go the route of the 18 X-ray contract option, so otherwise known as the Special Forces Recruit, which is still an option today, to give guys off the street the chance to go straight into the SF pipeline, bypass any kind of service in the conventional force, and then go right into the teams. So that's the route I went. Took about 2 years in total through basic training, airborne school, selection, all the things, and got to the teams after that.
So you did it right. Like, so I went in just no research whatsoever. I met a guard recruiter at Home Depot when I was working in the paint counter, and he recruited me right on the spot. Was like, hey, we're giving a $20,000 signing bonus. We're paying off student loans, which I had plenty of. And I was like, yeah, let me sign infantry. Yeah, I'll do that. Just sign me in. Sign me up. But I wish I had done the homework, right? Because I definitely would have done something like that had I done more homework. But in my mind, I was like, if you're going to, like, in order to go special operations, I thought you had to, like, go conventional first and then be selected. And then, I didn't find out about the 18 X-ray program until I was at basic training. There's a platoon of them. And I'm like, wait, they're doing what?
Yeah, who are those guys?
Yeah, what's going on over here? And we're training with the same through OSAT the whole time.
Yep.
And I'm like, fuck, like I missed an opportunity here. I learned that in basic training. And I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
And then I got to my guard unit, and like trying to get out of that unit was like impossible.
Yeah.
I tried like 3 different times. But no, it's good that you did the research on it, because that's important. I mean, you wanted to be a SEAL at first, right?
I did. I met with the Navy. So there were 3 branches in the same building in Boston,
right,
3 recruiter stations. And I went in, I went straight to the Navy, and I said, how you doing? Nice to meet you, sir. I want to be a SEAL.
Yeah.
And he's like, awesome, cool, man. Like, sit down, let's talk. And it's not by happenstance then or today that when you think of like the baddest motherfuckers on the planet, in terms of military anyway, the Navy SEALs come to mind very, very quickly. They're very good at what they do. And I'm not even talking like operationally. I've worked with SEALs almost my entire career. Yeah. They are very good at what they do operationally. I'm talking more like marketing and like the messaging that they put out there. It's not just by happenstance that happens. So I'm like, I want to be at the tip of the spear. The Navy SEALs are those people. I want to be a SEAL. And at that time, there wasn't a direct pathway to go straight into BUDS.
Right.
The Navy now does have a very similar program like the Army does, X-ray equivalent. They just didn't have it back then. So I went in and he's like, hey, cool, man, we got to enlist you into the Navy first. Yeah. And then you spend like a year or 2 and then you can ask to go to BUDS. And I was like, awesome. Like that to me was going to be the pathway anyway. I didn't know the X-ray thing existed. That wasn't something that was like promoted.
So it's a good thing you kept researching though.
So I just kept going. And then so I said, thank you, sir. I walked down the hall. I walked into the Marine Corps office, basically had the exact same question and same discussion. And then when I got to the Army, I was expecting almost the exact same thing, but I got a different answer. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Interesting. And then I still didn't make my decision because I really didn't know like the difference between the SEALs and the Green Berets or the Rangers. Like, these guys were all just like badass dudes. I didn't know the difference. So went home, spent a week or so just doing a little bit deeper dive into like what an ODA does and kind of the mission sets and things like that. So it ended up giving me the speed I was looking for to get into special operations, but I was also drawn towards the mission set of Army SF.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's good that you did all that homework like that. And
you were just ready, fire, aim, huh?
I was just like, honestly, I was just kind of at a point in my life where I was like, I'm not doing shit. Like, I need to figure something out. And just ran into the guy randomly, and he said all the right things. And I was like, yeah, just I'll sign up right now. Like, I'll do it. And just went right into it. And so how long you been in now? Are you at 20 yet?
Coming up on 19. No,
okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start retiring here pretty soon.
Good for you.
Yeah, man.
Good for you. I'm not gonna get too heavy into it, as heavy as you want to, but I do want to talk about your 2012 deployment.
Sure.
I'll let you start on that, man. What? I don't know how we should approach that. I know you were deployed 2012. You got injured 3 times.
Yep. And
what was the time frame? How long was that deployment?
6 months.
6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And you got injured 3 times. Yep. The first time, why don't you tell me about that?
First time, and just to set the stage, we were in Wardak province, which is like north, kind of central-ish, Afghanistan, known for its resilient fighters and challenging terrain. So you're dealing with more like mountains and really difficult terrain to navigate versus like down south and like Kandahar and Helmand, which is a lot like flatter, more like desert environment. This was my third time into Afghanistan. Went in September. So we got dropped off into a Taliban hornet's nest. Like we knew exactly what we were getting ourselves into. In fact, all the ODAs that were going in on that next rotation, we all competed for that exact mission. That's the one everyone wanted. They dropped 3 ODAs in along the Chalk Valley, which runs through Wardak. And all 3 of them were very similar in how difficult it was going to be. Oz, you could argue, was going to have an additional layer of difficulty because we weren't replacing an existing ODA that was there.
Gotcha.
It was a fresh pot of land for us to take over as our MSS, or our mission support site, which added to the challenge, which most SF guys are maniacs and want it to be as hard as possible.
Sure.
So that's what we want. We got what we asked for. Dropped off helicopter, 2 a.m. on a mountaintop with basically nothing around us. And come, I think, like 7 a.m. the next or later on that same morning, we were in our first engagement. So, like, we were, like, literally surrounded by these dudes. And it was, like, game on literally from day one.
Yeah.
Doing a mission that has kind of since been sunsetted called VSO, so Village Stability Operations. And you're familiar, but those that are unfamiliar, the concept is you embed a detachment into an operational environment, but you actually put some constraints on what that entity is able to build in terms of infrastructure. So you can't build these like big bases with all this technology, because the concept is we need to assimilate to our partner force in an environment that they can sustain themselves without us there.
Right.
So if you build this up that it's too technologically advanced or too robust or too complex, then odds are when you leave, you're just going to hand that over to your adversary,
right? Because
it's unsustainable for your partner force to maintain. So you have to minimize that footprint significantly and really do like live like your partner force does,
right?
Which is the mission of the ODA.
It's an SF, yeah.
Perfect. That's exactly what we want to do. Exactly what we want to do. That comes with some costs, certainly in terms of like force protection, but we were psyched about the mission set.
Yeah.
Went in September. Set to leave in April of 2013, and it was maybe like 3 weeks in that I was wounded for the first time. Ended up taking some grenade shrapnel to the back of my shoulder during a village clearance. Blew about a lemon-sized hole in me, which, it sounds a lot worse than it really was, and that's not to try to portray this like tough guy thing. It just it was more shocking than it was like painful or like damaging to my body. It was just this massive impact, like boom, like we're in the midst of a full-on like gunfight in an urban environment. So there's a lot going on. There's an impact. I kind of just happened to glance back and there's this like giant hole in my body. And I was like, that's not supposed to be there. But that really was kind of the extent of it, at least initially.
Yeah.
Some gauze, an ace bandage, pressure dressing, like boom, really wasn't like a huge problem. We finished our work. We did kind of decide to move off of the trajectory that we were moving on tactically.
Yeah.
And we ended up kind of reconsolidating. We got back to the house, took a look at it, and I was medevaced maybe 4 or 5 hours later after we got back home. Got in front of a doctor. He kind of took a look at it and gave me some antibiotics, treated it, and then taught me how to treat it. There's a longer version of this story where I end up kind of disobeying some orders.
This is one of my favorite parts.
Okay, we'll tell the story. Okay, cool. So
as much as you want, but this is one of my favorite parts
tell
of the story.
It's a good one to tell. It's entertaining, but I think that there's like an important message here, especially for like new service members. The message is like, don't do this. This is not the green light to just do whatever you want in a deployed environment. That's not the intent of the message here. But I was at an outpost that had our AOB command that's there, which is basically in military hierarchy, that's like your company level command team. They maintain your AOB, which is like your next level of support above the ODA. So a major, sergeant major, and usually a chief warrant officer 3. Those are those guys. And like their entire support team and enablers and other dudes that are there. That's where I physically was being treated. Well, the SOTIF command team, so now you're talking about like your battalion level command, led by a lieutenant colonel, was operating out of Bagram, so a whole separate province. And that's really where a lot of these decisions were being made, was from that level.
Yeah.
our battalion or SOTF surgeon was at that location. He was aware of my injury, and his guidance was, Nick will not leave where he's at now until his wound has completely and totally closed, because he had a concern of infection setting in, and that can be a very dangerous problem, like to threaten to your life. And I was like, yeah, I don't think that's going to really work for me. And I was on maybe like day 3 of being at our AOB headquarters, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I went in and grabbed one of my buddies who was working on the B team. And I was like, hey man, drive me down to the tarmac. And he was like, for what? I was like, I need to get a ride to Bagram, because the only rotary wing flights that could get me back to Jalrez, where my team was all generating out of Bagram. So I need to get to Bagram at some point, and then I can find a helicopter to get on that can bring me out to the guys. And he's like, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to stay here, bro. And he was senior to me. He was older than me, senior, been around for a bit. And I was like, no, I know. And he's like, all right, man, you do you, homie. So he gives me a ride down. I go from one C-130 to another, and it was the third one that I got to, and the crew was like kind of doing their final prep. I was like, hey man, you guys heading to Bagram? And the crew chief was like, yeah. I'm like, can I hitch a ride? He was like, sure. So I just like jump on the plane. I have the whole plane to myself. They were just going to relocate. Flying to Bagram. I had been in Bagram when we initially infilled, but we were only there for like 3 or 4 hours. Yeah. And then loaded up and head out to our site. So I really wasn't familiar with Bagram all that much, but I land and I'm like, okay, I have like no idea
huge.
Where I am. Bagram's mad. It's like a city. Right? It's huge. So eventually I make my way over to the soft compound. And I just like stroll like on, and I've only been there for like an hour or two, a month prior. Long story short, I walk into the command post or the TOC, and I run into our battalion commander, who was actually from Brockton. This is key piece of information.
Really?
It's from Brockton, Mass. His name's Chris. I'll leave his last name out. It's from Brockton. Great dude.
Yeah.
He sees me and he's like, Nick, what's up, man? Like, what's going on? What are you doing? I'm not sure if he even knew what like the orders were for me. He was just excited to see another like Boston
guy. Did he know
you
got injured or anything?
He knew I was injured. Okay. Yeah. But he was more interested in like just chopping it up with me. Yeah, like, what's up, man? Good to see you. Da da da. Like when you're a battalion commander, you're away from the boys, right? And so I think trying to conceptualize being in that role, like when one of your guys comes through that you've been supporting this whole time, it's like a great thing. You're like, oh, what's up, man? How you doing? What's going on? What he was really interested in telling me about was the seat he had bought from Fenway Park when they revamped the stadium. They were selling off the old bleacher seats when they revamped the stadium. Yep. He bought one, brought it to Afghanistan with him. True story. And that was his like battle captain chair in the op cent. Okay.
In the TOC?
In the TOC. There's a bleacher seat from Fenway Park. He is great. Beyond fired up to just share with me this seat. Yeah. So I'm like, I will talk about anything with you right now, sir, other than me violating like a very clear order for me to stay where I was. So I'm like, this fucking chair is great, man. I love everything about it. This is awesome. We're chopping up. Command Sergeant Major walks over, right? And when you're a young team guy, your battalion Command Sergeant Major is like an entity from another planet. Like this guy's like a god, right? Like whatever he says is like, Roger that, Sergeant Major. Like that's it. He walks over and he's like, hey, Nick, what's going on? And I know immediately that he knows that I've broken some rules and we're about to get into it. And I'm like, hey, CSM, how you doing? He's like, why are you here right now? And I was like, well, I need to get a ride back to Jalrez. He's like, no, okay, but why are you here right now? You're supposed to be over there with those guys. And before I could even start to come up with some like bullshit, the phone rings. He answers it. And he's like, hello, yeah, whatever. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, I'm looking at him right now. So I know that now they're talking about me. And it was my company Sergeant Major, who was at the location that I had just left, who was calling around to try to find out where I was. And he's like, okay, cool. Hands me the phone. He's like, yeah, your Sergeant Major would like to have a word with you. And I'm like, I am definitely about to get yelled at. At this point, dude, I don't know if I'm going to get court-martialed. Like, I'm still pretty early on in my military career. I'm like, this could be the end of me. I have no idea. I'm going to be in Leavenworth. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I get on the phone, and he just comes unglued on me, like screaming. Wow. After a minute or so of me taking some verbal lashings, he, like, immediately calms down. He's like, hey, man, listen, I get it. I know where your heart is. I understand why you did what you did, why you're doing what you're doing. Like, I totally get it. He's like, in fact, I respect it, man.
Yeah.
Me to you. I respect it. Just don't ever fucking do something like this again. And I was like, message received.
Yeah.
So, and then to make matters a little more interesting, the doc eventually comes in, and this is my first time really in like an op cen.
Sure.
And it's like a amazing thing to see. There's like screens everywhere. There's like tiered seating, and every section's got their stuff going on. And I'm kind of like trying to take all this in, like, oh, so this is what this looks like from your vantage point. This is an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Right there and then, red light goes on, essential personnel only. So people start moving out, others start moving in. My ODA is now troops in contact. Okay. I'm now watching this from a brand new vantage point ever, and it's my guys. So I'm like kind of conflicted with, like, I want to know what's going on with the boys, but I'm also really amazed at what happens when you're here versus when you're there, which has really been my only experience to this point in my career. So it was like a lot to take in. It was really, really cool.
Yeah.
But I was also really concerned about, my boys. So I'm like doing all this, and then our team sergeant takes a round to his abdomen during this engagement. So now it's like medevac is coming on scene. They're launching fires, like the JTAC's working. They're sending, aerial platforms overhead. They're dropping casts. Like, all this is happening. And I'm watching my team sergeant through IR feed on the ground, gunshot, medics treating him. And now I'm like coming like unglued, like uncomfortable. And I throw a bit of a temper tantrum. Total lack of emotional control. Yeah. Emotion takes over entirely. I started acting like a 5-year-old at Toys R Us that didn't get the toy you wanted. And I start demanding like a helicopter ride, like now. And I'm screaming, and it was really unprofessional. And the doc is like, no, hold on. Like, you're not even supposed to be here. You're not going anywhere. Yeah. You will stay here until that wound is healed. And the group CSM was right there, and he goes, hey, listen, doc, like, I'm pretty sure you don't want to get in between this guy and like what he's got in mind. Mm-hmm. So, and then Colonel Fox comes back in, our group. I said I wasn't going to say his last name. There you go. Mm-hmm. Awesome dude. Brockton guy. Okay. He comes in and he's like, hey, doc, like, I'll take the risk on this. Like, I got it. Yeah. Nick, like, get your shit ready and like get ready because you're going back.
Wow. That's wild. And that's just after the first.
That was the first injury. I know. We burned a lot of calories on that one, but you asked for the story. No,
I usually that's a great fucking story.
It is a good story. I rarely will share that, man. Yeah, so like, this platform is a cool, opportunity for those that have yet to hear that little detail. Yeah. I'm gun shy, no pun intended, on sharing that because I think it could very easily send the wrong message in terms of like when you're in that environment, and a lot of soft guys or team guys, there's almost this like idea that we're kind of cowboys or like we just do whatever we want, and some do, and that can have negative effects and create negative consequences. It was a very different time than it is today. Different set of circumstances. When you're in actual like direct action type combat on a regular basis, it's a different world than certainly today, even in like deployed, combat environments. It's just a different environment.
Yeah, and I can see why you'd be tentative on sharing that, but I think you framed it perfectly as like, look, this is what not to do. No. Right? I mean, we've all made mistakes that we've had to learn from and have done things where we've looked back and been like, I didn't handle myself with emotional regulation, or I didn't, whatever. Yeah. So I think the way you frame it is perfect. I mean, you can gloss over the second injury and get right into the
second injury. Took an AK-47 round to the face. Yeah, no, that sounds wild as well. Can you even notice?
Yeah, a little bit.
You got to look close.
A little bit.
I'll share one quick detail. The guy that patched me up. Yeah. You want to talk about the ideal dude? This dude was an Army reservist trauma doctor, right? He's a reservist, though. So most reservists,
he's a real doctor,
have a real life and a real job outside the military. So he was on his deployment as a trauma doc. In his personal life, he owned and ran a plastic surgery clinic. So he was a plastic surgeon, trauma surgeon is the guy that I happened to fall into to put my face back together, and he did a brilliant job, right? You can barely tell. And then fast forward to the third one was just with a couple weeks left in the trip. So now it's March of 2013. We're set to go home in like a couple weeks. And just prior to us loading up our vehicles to start heading towards our target, a member of the Afghan National Police Force jumped up on the back of a Ford Ranger pickup truck and unloaded into the group from about 30 feet away. And I know you're familiar, but they hear, PKM and have no idea what that means. It's a Russian-made belt-fed machine gun, kind of equivalent to our 240 platform. So a very powerful weapon system. And from 30 feet into human flesh, I mean, it's catastrophic. It's like you're getting hit by a freight train. 12 U.S. casualties, 3 of which were killed, one of which was our detachment commander, Captain Andrew Peterson Keel, from Connecticut, actually. Okay. Was standing right next to me just before the round started flying. And then to make matters a little bit more interesting, this was the initiation of a pre-planned complex ambush. We didn't know there were about 30 Taliban fighters that had our compound almost entirely surrounded. So when this guy initiated from inside our perimeter, they all began launching mortars and rockets and machine guns. So, a bad day at the office. And I got to highlight this, man, from one soldier to another. And again, I could go on for a while about, the GWAT era and how special operations has been really glorified in a lot of ways and kind of romanticized in a lot of ways. Understandably so. You're talking about counterterrorism and counterinsurgency operations, and that's literally what SOCOM does. So for 20 years, you had SOCOM, SOF, kind of at the tip of the spear, and then you had the rest of the conventional military there also. And I think that there's this massive misconception that the rest of the military was all there just like in like this like support role, and the team guys were the ones doing all the work. You and I both know that that's complete and total bullshit. I understand how someone could maybe think that to be true, but it's not. Sure. And on this day, when you got a 12-man ODA and 8 of us were down, okay? Our infantry uplift squad that we had assigned to us, 13 infantry dudes. Their squad leader, Staff Sergeant Rex Shad, was their senior. He was also killed this day. Most of them were fresh out of basic on their first deployment ever. I'm talking like 18, 19-year-old kids. Yeah. And they were embedded with us. And they were there to literally hold down the fort while we would be going out in operations with our partner force. But, of course, over the months, we're training with them. Yep. We're working with them. We're bringing them out. They're drivers. They're turret gunners. I mean, they're getting into the game. Yeah. Awesome. As I'm laying there bleeding out, femoral severed, my right leg eviscerated, femur shattered, as I'm looking around, truly believing that this was the last day on earth for me, watching those infantry soldiers straight up go to work and start occupying these fighting positions. They're calling out distance, direction, disposition. They're calling out ammo reloads. They're getting the vehicles fired up. They're getting the mortar pit fired up. Like, this is shit that none of these kids knew how to do really at all when we first got there. And then fast forward 5.5 months, and you're just watching these warriors straight up go to work. And I don't recall at that point in my life ever feeling that amount of like pride and love and respect for a bunch of other dudes. I was like, this is the way I want to go out. Like, I'm fine with this. You know what I mean? Like, look what these savages are doing. Yeah. Our infantry dudes, they saved our lives, man. Wow. Like, period.
Yeah, no, that's really cool to hear. And one of the things that I respected about you from the minute I've met you is you could very easily just surround yourself and create a team of all soft guys if you wanted to. But you got me, you got George, you got Rebecca, you got Kate, you got a team full of people that are just from everywhere. And that's one of the things I picked up on just being friends with you is like, you don't just look for the value in one place. You look for it in everywhere, in all different places. So to hear you say like that about just infantry guys and non-Green Berets that's not surprising to me because I feel like I see that in how you just conduct yourself all the time. Yeah, man. And I appreciate that.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, your story is definitely, I was following it for 3 years probably or following you for about 3 years before we met. And probably 3 different occasions I had guys guys from Mass, guys from just different places that were like, dude, you got to meet Nick Lavery. Like, let me introduce you to Nick Lavery. And I was like, no, I'm good. Like, I didn't want to. I'm like, what am I going to say? Like, you know, hey, what's up? I'm Danny. Nice to meet you. Like,
Sure.
You're a busy guy. I'm a busy guy. I'm not just going to waste your time to say, hey, what's up? And then last year we met at the gala.
Yeah.
And
Finally.
Yeah. But I had always had the mentality that, like, I'll meet him eventually. Like, he's a Massachusetts guy. I'm in Boston too. Like, I'll meet him. Like, it's not a big deal. And we met organically and hit it off.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I'm grateful for the friendship. I'm grateful to be a part of the team. And just grateful, yeah, man.
Likewise, man.
And so where I want to go with this next is get into all the other stuff you're doing now.
Sure.
Because I think what you're doing now is great, and I think where you're going to take it and the team that you got and all the people you have in place, I see this as, you know, the Nick Lavery moving forward, right?
Just getting going, brother.
And it's cool to see, and it's even cooler to be a part of.
Yeah, man.
So you got a lot of different things that I think a lot of people are not confused on, but like even myself when I got involved, I was like, okay, so there's the Forge, I know what that is. There's Precision Components, which I'm a part of, so I know what that is. And Team Machine. We're gonna differentiate.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So let's start with the Forge.
Okay.
Let's tell the audience about what the Forge is.
You know what? Let's actually start with Precision Components.
Okay.
We'll go big to small and
Okay.
kind of put this on like a line and block chart, if you will. But Precision Components is our parent company, and so all of our other entities and other businesses really exist underneath that. So that's kind of at the top as it sits today. And aside from being a parent organization, it's our B2B service provider, which you're familiar with. So we've got at this point, 3 or so dozen different speakers and instructors. We focus mostly on leadership, team building, resilience, mental toughness, and then introduce some components of what we call performance wellness. So like for the individual, bigger, faster, stronger, more clearly thinking, more healthy, et cetera. That's largely what consumes a lot of my time and our energy is in the B2B world. So we work really across the spectrum, corporate, law enforcement, first responders, military units, pro sports teams, NCAA, a lot of nonprofit stuff. You know, Chris is one of our great partners we get to work with over at Brothers Keeper. And then maybe the one demo that I may be most in love with, and it's the work we get to do with like youth programs.
Yeah, that's
right.
cool.
So we have like a huge pro bono initiative for any of these youth programs. I'll be with a bunch of at-risk youth kids. They're talking like junior high school, early high school time kids that have struggled with the law and they're making some poor choices. Like that, I get way more benefit from anything that I could give into these little pockets, these little communities. I think when you can get them, we can get them early. Certainly at that, you know, precipice moment of, you know, 12 to 18 kind of time frame. They're just so impressionable. That is what I think I'm in love with the most. Nice. Working with the Boston Celtics is amazing. I'm from Boston, you know, being there with them in Game 5 when they won the ring last year. It's amazing. So a lot of amazing opportunities we get to be a part of. Youth programs, maybe one of my personal favorites. So that's what Precision Components is, B2B service provider, training and consulting. And then our machine brand that exists within the Precision Components kind of enterprise is our entire B2C world, and that's our personal development lifestyle brand. And you know, I hear that a lot, like lifestyle brand. And I feel like it's a term that gets thrown around like kind of cavalierly. I'm like, what does that mean to you? You know, like, you know, you sell t-shirts, like you're a t-shirt company, which is great. We sell t-shirts. You're wearing one of them right now. It's awesome. Like, I love apparel. We got to put clothes on. It's great. It's fun to play around with. Help me understand how this is enabling a lifestyle for an individual. Aside from, I need to wear something out of my house, I'm going to put this shirt on. And, you know, entities can figure out how they want to do that. We wanted to take that almost to like the extreme where there's services and products that are very deliberate about enabling a lifestyle for the individual that has decided good enough is no longer good enough, right? It is what it is no longer acceptable. These are humans that have realized that life is finite. Life is a gift. This is not a dress rehearsal. And I am sick and tired of being sick and tired and going through life unfulfilled, without passion, without purpose is just not going to work anymore. That is who we built the machine brand for. Within that, you've got the Forge, which is our kind of entryway pathway into what we call Team Machine. So for those that want to kind of take on this lifestyle approach, the Forge is kind of your gateway into that community. It's our coaching and community platform. We've got 24 different subject matter experts, you being one of them, within these different domains that we consider to be kind of all-encompassing, whole-of-person approach to life, physical, mental, social, leadership, preparedness, and financial. So those are how it's structured, is within those areas. I think when you start making progress within each of those, like, you're on a really great trajectory.
Yeah, no, I love the Forge, man. I wake up every morning and I'm like, the first thing I do is I check and I see what's your message for the day, right? It's always spot on, and I love the feedback that the community just puts into it. It seems like people stay dedicated to it. They're engaged. So
it's been an amazing journey.
Awesome,
it's been just over a year, and actually, I was just on a call earlier this morning with Jennifer, one of our leaders in the machine brand and machine entity. And we're talking about how, what's the next evolution of that platform? It's, these things are organisms, man. Like we talked about emotional regulation, leadership. It's like, it's constantly evolving. We got to be constantly nurturing it and looking at it and objectively analyzing kind of what we're doing, how we're doing, what are the effects. So we're talking about kind of what that next iteration looks like. But dude, I can tell you, one of the most fulfilling components of that particular community is you've got all these experts, right? 20 plus of us that come from these different backgrounds and have dedicated the majority of our adult lives into refining these skill sets and building curriculums and these ideas and concepts and insights that are being poured into our members. That's all phenomenal. And we're also learning from each other, which is great. What I've really come to enjoy perhaps the most is when our members are doing that with themselves, with each other. Absent of me or absent of you or any of the one of our experts we have, they're bouncing ideas off each other. They're going to each other's events. They're sharing their own personal experiences. And you kind of look back and go, man, this is turning into this own like self-fulfilling animal, a machine. Right? Pun intended, of awesomeness that's all happening right now.
Yeah, and even we've done that. You and I once, I forget what it was. But it was basically like a leadership principle where you and I kind of went back and forth a little bit, bouncing off of each other throughout the feed. And I'm like, I thought to myself, I'm like, he's challenging me right now. But you know what? Our members are seeing that, right? And I thought it was fucking awesome.
It's awesome. It
was awesome.
I think having that kind of diverse, collaborative world, which is becoming, I would argue, more and more rare, where people want to be in kind of more of an echo chamber, where they're surrounded by people that are saying what they want to hear all the time. Because anything outside that is confusing or uncomfortable or just strikes a nerve. Is no, like, believe it or not, we can have a difference of opinion on something and converse and have that back and forth and still maintain a degree of love and respect for the other human and their position.
Absolutely.
Right. And you and I do that. That's part of the value. Hey, man, well, if that's the case, well, what about this, though? How does this apply? And it's like, oh, you know what? Well, blah, blah, blah.
And we weren't even disagreeing. We were just like, well, what about looking at it this way?
Just different vantage points.
That's it.
That's it. And that's great. And that, I mean, that fuels thought and insight and more questions and more input. And like that's the kind of community that I had envisioned. And to see it come to fruition is pretty cool, man. It's humbling.
Yeah, man. There's a lot happening here. There's a lot happening.
There's a lot going on, man.
You got what, another year, roughly?
Roughly-ish. Yeah, year and a half or so. But you know, that exit kind of transition timeline is really at this point kind of a 12-month burn where that's all you really do
is transition
kind
out.
of exit out. So you're talking, you know, a year and a half of like total service. You start moving that clock back, man. It's like I'm looking at like 6-8 months.
Good for you.
And then start wrapping things up.
Then what?
Then just
keep this?
Precision components, machine. That's it, man. I am desperately curious to find out what it's like when I pour 100% of my professional bandwidth into this venture.
Yeah.
Whereas now I've had to maintain that as the minority in terms of time, effort, energy. My primary professional obligation is to that of the United States Army and those that we serve, period. That ratio has kind of started to move as the company has grown.
Yeah.
But, 51% is the minimum that I could expend in terms of total bandwidth into my responsibilities as a soldier.
Yeah.
I have to be very cognizant of that line.
Of course.
Because I love the stuff we're doing.
Yeah.
I love growing the business and getting things wrong and scaling and making mistakes and onboarding new people and looking at a new thing. It's like, it's a really exciting and fun and brutally fucking hard.
Yeah.
But I got to be cognizant of that kind of bandwidth investment. So it still is, I consider it to be a passion project.
Sure.
It's still kind of like a little side hustle, which is wild given the growth and the things that we're doing. So once I do get that DD-214 in my hands, once I'm like officially a civilian and this becomes what I do, well, professionally, I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, doing the speaking stuff, it has been incredible. I mean, I've done, I think, a total of 8 speaking engagements, and so far my favorite one is the one I did for Precision Components at Team USA Football.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That was something else, man.
And you crushed that, dude.
Thank you.
I'm still getting feedback. So John Carlock, who's over there now, who was the guy that kind of helped
He's the
facilitate
performance
that.
guy, the head he's a good dude.
Yeah, he was our head strength and conditioning coach at Fifth Group for years.
That's right.
So I've known John for years. He's been literally working with me in my programming and working through injury and adaptation. He's a great dude.
He's a really good guy.
We still stay in contact. He's still raving about the impact you created with USA Football, and that was what, like 6 months ago?
Yeah,
5 months ago?
3-4 months ago. Yeah, those coaches and their performance people still hit me up on Instagram. Like they're a good team. I think they're gonna do well. They're gonna do well.
And dude, I'll tell you, that's the sign of a very unique speaker, presenter, instructor. Is the shelf life in which the impact can be sustained. The majority, it's you create that moment in the room, and then 3 hours later, most of it's gone.
Yeah.
That's like the hard reality of our profession as speakers, as instructors.
Sure.
No matter what you do, it's I'm motivated, I'm ready to go, great, and then they wake up the next morning and it's like they're back to normal. Okay, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So how long can you maintain that effect is a key metric in the value of a speaker. And if you can go 3, 4, 5 months and you're still getting, hey, man, like I'm still thinking about this thing. I implemented this new thing. You're on another level in terms of the science and the art form that goes into creating that kind of impact with your words, with like the spoken word.
Yeah.
And like you're just getting going in this world, but you're already miles ahead of where most will ever get to.
That's crazy, man. I appreciate that feedback. The funny thing about when I met John for the first time was standing in the hotel lobby, and one of the coaches comes up and he's like introducing me, and we're getting to know one another. And the guy goes, "So, John, how do you know Denny?" And he looks over and he goes, "Denny, don't take this personally." He goes, "We wanted to get Nick out here, but he was already booked."
Oh.
And no, but then later on he goes, "Danny, man, I'm glad you came." He was just he's a great dude.
Good dude. Yeah.
Such a nice guy. But yeah, no, it was just funny the way he said. He's like, "Danny, don't take it personally," and he was being serious. He was being sincere. Like I didn't take it personally or anything. It was just he's like, "We tried to get Nick, but he was booked up." But and then later on, he's like, "Dude, I'm really glad you came." Thank you. So he's just such a good dude.
Yep.
So, and that entire experience, got to go to the combine, super cool. And I got another one coming up next month for the SEAL Legacy Family Foundation.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Love it.
Yeah.
First time doing it in a suit though. I don't know how that's gonna.
Oh, it's more formal.
It's it's a gala.
Well, I've seen you cleaned up. You clean up well. I saw you at the gala last year. Yeah. You clean up well, man. You pull it off.
Well, it's funny. I was talking to him. We had a meeting about just what I'm going to present and all that. And I was like, "Are you guys okay if I take the jacket off and roll the sleeves up?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's fine." I'm like, "I appreciate that." I'm like, "I'm usually backwards hat, t-shirt."
Right.
She's like, "Yeah, get comfortable." She's like, "Do what you want."
Good.
So I was like, "Thank you."
You're gonna crush it, man.
But I appreciate it, man. And is there anything else you want to touch on?
We gotta address the fact that it's like looking in a mirror. Yeah. I'm gonna share the website story here real quick.
Okay.
for your audience. So you've been on the team now, I don't know, 8, 9 months, 10
About
months.
9 months, yeah.
Yes. Okay, cool. And we do headshots, we do photos, we do bios. Like you're on the Precision Components website on all the things you speak on, some of your background, all this stuff. Great. Building that thing out. It takes, I don't know, 8 months to build the new website. Once we kind of formalized Precision Components, because machine was really what was forward facing for a long time. We kind of made a little bit of a dichotomy, separation. Let's get this thing. It's polished, looks good, it's clean. Needs some work still, but it forever will. Got some of our key assets in there. Awesome. And at some point, I think it was Sydney, who's on our team, and she really runs our engagement division for us. She sends me like a screenshot of Google on her phone. And she had Googled like Nick Lavery and hit like enter. And it's a picture of you. That's what shows up. This big, beautiful picture of this fucking mug I'm looking at right now. And she sends it to me, and all it says is, I think we have a problem here. And I was dying laughing at this. And I couldn't decide if it was because you were like the newest thing we added. You know, like, I don't know what's going on with the tech world. I have no idea what's going on behind all the scenes.
Yeah.
Is it because, you know, you just happen to be the most recent image we added to the site? Or is it because you and I look as similar as we do? And I'm like, and Sydney's like, you guys do look. I'm like, we do look alike. It never even dawned on me, aside from the fact that we typically are both wearing black T-shirts and backwards black hats.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome. I do think it's awesome. I think it's been corrected, and now I'm almost like irritated. Like, I kind of want Denny still up there representing me. Like, he's a much better representation.
No, I was joking around with her too, and I'm like, I saw that, and I'm like, I thought I was gonna get fired. I'm like, he's gonna fire me.
Oh, it was good, man. But no, yeah. And on a funny story, man. I just appreciate you bringing me on, brother. I love you. I think the world of you.
Same.
You and I are just getting going here, man, and it's already been a fun ride, and it's only gonna get funner, brother.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Man. Thanks
for coming on.
Yeah, man.